Good afternoon. I'm Roy Priest, the chair of the Montgomery County Housing Opportunities Commission. I want to welcome you to this open meeting of the commission to discuss our 5-year strategic plan. I'm joined today by the HOC staff and also by commissioners, Fran Kelleher, who is our vice chair, Jeffrey Merkowitz, who is our chair pro tem, Commissioner Byrd, Pamela Byrd, and also Commissioner Robin Solomon. I want to thank them for joining us in this conversation we're going to have today about our strategic plan. As all of us know, and maybe many of you all who may be joining us on YouTube, that we have been engaged in this process for a while, and it really formally started in May of 2023 when we had our beginning work that started with Public Works. And I want to welcome Eric, who's here representing Public Works. To our conversation. You all were sent a memorandum, which you've seen so many of them, as to why you kind of get lost in which iteration of something you're looking at. But I want to use today as a way for us just to try to see if we can walk through some of the questions that are still need to be confirmed, so we can give directions to our consultants so it can go forward and create the initial draft document of our 5-year strategic plan. Now, as all the commissioners know, you had the opportunity to, and did, provide comments back on earlier about, I think about a 12-page draft of the document. And as we walk through this outline that's been provided for discussion today, to the extent you want to inform this by anything you may have indicated in the other document that you responded to, certainly feel free to do that if we walk through this. So that is how I would like to proceed. So there are just, I think, about 7 issues, and I won't call them issues, but areas of conversation that we want to try to cover today. And we'll start out today. And let me say, one of the things that's interesting to me, and especially as it relates to the first area we're going to talk about, is our vision statement and our mission statements. That when I had a chance to look at the side by side or of the current mission statement, vision statement, and what's being proposed, it was interesting to me that even though we are starting a process of creating a 5-year plan, the current statements we have are pretty good. And I said, well, I didn't know what they formally said until I started looking at them again. So we'll start today, though, with a discussion about our vision statement. Now, if you see the current statement in our document states very clearly that when it states, is it up on the screen? Could you roll the screen forward to the, yeah, okay, you can see it is our vision that everyone should live in quality housing that is affordable with dignity and respect. At HOC, we believe this vision can be achieved by ensuring amenity-rich, community-connected housing for all of Montgomery County residents where all people can reach their fullest potential. We believe supportive programs delivered through mission-aligned partnerships helps our customers improve their economic status, remain stably housed, and reach the goals they hold for themselves and their families. So what is, and Public Works proposed a statement that says, futures start and grow in a place called home. Is why we are making it affordable while empowering individuals, families, and neighborhoods to prosper. And the conversations that we had in our meetings, there was a offering of alternative, which said that a Montgomery County in which all residents have access to safe, affordable, and quality housing and the attendant services they need to thrive. So our first course of conversation is adopting what we want to have as a vision statement. One of the things I would offer, and just looking at this, is the way this starts out, where it talks about a Montgomery County. And this is designed to be HOC's statement of its vision and I don't know if I want to start by first by saying in Montgomery County, I agree with all the rest of the language, but is it possible that that statement could be um, our, is our vision that all residents should have access to safe, affordable, and quality housing and the attendant services they need to thrive in Montgomery County?
Um, I mean, I guess I'll just jump in since that was language that I had proposed. And I mean, the focus on Montgomery County is, of course, because, we're the HOC of Montgomery County.
Right.
Whether you stick it at the beginning or the end, I don't particularly feel strongly about. I think the point here was that, a vision statement should be, about not just a statement of values, which I kind of see the other statements a little bit more closer to values, but sort of what our end state is, like our ideal end state. Not necessarily one that we will be able to achieve, but like if we were able to achieve everything we wanted, what would it look like? And so that's kind of in my mind, the goal of a vision statement. And again, the specific wording, if you wanted to, move around Montgomery County, but I think having it, I phrased it the way it did because that kind of presents it as the vision. This is what Montgomery County will look like if we were successful.
Okay. Other comments?
Roy, could you repeat how you proposed to start that sentence?
Okay. It is our vision that all residents have access to safe, affordable, and quality housing and the attendant services they need to thrive in Montgomery County.
I see.
And see, one of the things we make, like in the earlier stage, you can see up the top, one that says that rather than say residents, it says everyone should live, okay? And what ours begins to say, our focus is around our residents. And so do we want to be specific to residents, or we want to be more inclusive by saying that anyone who lives in the county should be who needs it to be able to have access to this?
I mean, I think that's what it does say, when we say a Montgomery County in which all residents. And
my concern when saying all residents and everyone is the fact that this is limited or should be about HOC. And so when you think about it, you got the larger Montgomery County government with its policies and agencies, and then you have HOC. So I think when we use all residents, it's like HOC does not encompass everyone in the county.
No, but this is HOC's role in the county is to make sure that all residents have access to safe, affordable, and quality housing. I mean, we're not, again, Pam, this is sort of,
No, I get it. I get it. I'm just saying it's just the word all to me. It's not everyone is
well, who would you leave out?
HOC client. I wouldn't leave out anyone. I'm just saying either we preference it a little by saying something like HOC clients or something, but when we use the word all residents, it's just a little misleading. But that's all I was pointing out. Of course, we want everyone in the county, but not everyone is a HOC client is the point I'm trying to make. So,
right, but not necessarily currently. I mean, we don't want to limit it to just those who are our clients at the moment. And if there is anyone in the county, again, sort of as the vision of what would Montgomery County look like if we were successful in our mission, there wouldn't be anyone who didn't have
Right,
access to safe, affordable, and quality housing.
right. But that's Montgomery County as a whole, the
Yeah,
government, everybody. So, but here we're just talking about our role as HOC. But either way, we could keep it as all, but I'm fine
Yeah.
with that. I think maybe Roy, with it starting out, what you said, a Montgomery County. Um, but if we kept the existing sentence, it is our vision. Yeah, I see where that's a little.
Yeah, it could also say this, it could say, it is our vision that all Montgomery County residents have access to safe, affordable, and quality housing and the attendant services they need to thrive.
That's what you said. Yeah.
I just put the Montgomery County in early,
Mm-hmm.
just simply said, it's our vision that all Montgomery County residents have access to safe, affordable, and quality housing and the attendant services they need to thrive.
Okay, that's good.
Go ahead, Clint.
I know that I am attributed to this also, and I would like to have a second thought in terms of one of the items in the last section of this draft talks about ensure programmatic decisions and undertakings match actual HOC capacity. And I worry when we talk about people's capacity to thrive or reach their full potential or these things that go well beyond housing in terms of their scope, because in fact, our scope is housing. So I wonder um, if we put a period after quality housing, if that isn't the more appropriate statement of our vision, given that um, our chartering does not talk about uh, thriving beyond the capacity to provide housing. Very, very few of the programs we administer have funding for anything beyond housing. And I worry about putting something quite so broad as need to thrive or reach full potential in something that we claim we're going to try to achieve.
Well, yeah, I think the reason for doing that is the fact is that we serve people, right? And we provide the housing for people. And we are saying we also not only want to deliver housing, we want to assure that the people who live in our housing also have the opportunity to thrive in the environment that we are creating.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, and we're doing so much more. I mean, to me, thriving is what we're doing by the different programs we have now, the fatherhood initiative, all the programs we do for the kids that live in our housing. So I don't see where the word thrive is misleading or promoting something that we're not doing already.
Yeah, because in the earlier draft it says where all people can reach their full potential,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
fullest potential. That's what it said in our current vision statement. So
Right.
this is the idea of thrive is kind of consistent with the idea, it's a wording thing, can reach their fullest potential. And that if we want to put in, instead of saying thrive, to reach their fullest potential, that would be fine too.
Right.
Well, that would be going the opposite direction of where I think we need to go. I mean, there is no way we have the resources to help people reach their fullest potential, nor will
Yeah.
we ever in
Again,
the near term. We
Yeah,
can't
I would just
provide,
point out that this is a
please
vision
don't
statement.
interrupt, Jeff.
Yeah, it's a vision statement. Yeah.
Yeah. We can't provide health care insurance to people that don't have it. We can't provide um, job permits to people that are undocumented. We can't provide all kinds of things that would be part of helping people thrive or reaching their fullest potential. It's really outside of our scope. And I think we need to be realistic and honest about that.
Other comments?
I somewhat disagree with that because like I said, we're doing those programs. And again, we're talking about a vision. We're not saying what we will do. It's our vision that we will do that. And again, through the larger Montgomery County government, the federal government, we will help people reach their potential and thrive. So I don't see any opposition to keeping those words in our vision statement because the vision is your highest level of what you would want to achieve if you did have all of the resources available to you. So you're never going to have them all. You may never meet it, but you can certainly have that vision to do so. So I would like to keep something in there about thriving or reaching their fullest potential, however we decide to word it.
And I agree with Pam there that, again, echoing just what she said, that if we had all the resources, this is what it would look like. We don't, but this is our vision.
So can I get some agreement, a consensus from the commissioners that what this should, what the final vision statement should look like? I mean, we can again, don't look at this as the end all be all. I mean, we're just trying to give directions right now to the consultant. They will put all this together, and we will have other opportunities to revisit this. Okay, and so in the interim, we may find other things that we decide what we're doing today that we may want to also modify when we see the first draft of the whole strategic plan. Okay, so that so the general sense that I would give to in this matter would be that we want to make sure in this thing, we want to make sure we identify that we want to do it in a location which is Montgomery County. We want to build affordable housing, and we want to also be able to support the ability of the people who live there to be able to achieve positive outcomes in their lives. So can we get a consensus that those three elements are key to this vision statement?
No.
So why don't we keep that second sentence in the existing one, Roy, where it says at HOC, we believe this vision can be achieved.
We believe supportive programs, mission-aligned partnerships helps our customers improve the economic status, remain stably housed, and reach the goals.
Oh no, the one before that ends in fullest potential. So you can either say where our people thrive or our people can reach their fullest potential.
Yeah, at HOC, we believe this vision can be achieved by ensuring amenity-rich, community-connected housing for all of Montgomery County's residents, where all people can reach their fullest potential. That's what it says now.
Yeah.
That's what it currently says. So
I think what you said earlier, we either keep that a Montgomery County in which our residents have access to safe, affordable housing and quality housing, affordable. Can we take out that and there? Affordable
quality housing.
Yeah, and the attendant services, they need to appear. Yeah, we can either keep they need to thrive or reach their fullest potential. But I like how in the existing one that we had all, how we thought the vision could be achieved if we wanted to keep that sentence, but then it's not really flowing with the change that we proposed.
Yeah.
I mean,
so you can
I don't
keep
think we
it
want to
as
spend
is,
our
man.
whole meeting on the vision.
I was getting ready to say
statement.
we already 20 minutes in, and I
Yeah.
really cannot stay all day today.
But
so either we keep it
yeah.
as we suggested, and then we can come back to it, like you said, Roy, later. But
yeah,
Yeah, let's move on to
I
mission.
mean, I obviously supported it as written, but Roy, if you wanted to move Montgomery County to a vision
Right.
in which all Montgomery County residents, that's fine with me. I like the conciseness
Mm-hmm.
of it, but I don't need to add more.
Yeah, because what the current proposed alternative, it really encompasses
Mm-hmm.
first two statements in our original statement, which
Mm-hmm.
is our vision everyone should live in quality housing is affordable with dignity and respect. We don't include dignity and respect in this rewriting, but it does include affordable housing. And then the next one is to be achieved amenity-rich communities, and people can reach their full potential. So I mean, it encompasses in a shorthanded way
Right.
the concept of those first two sentences in the current statement. So with that, so we want to spend all our time on this. Let me see. I think we've heard points of view, the perspectives, and we will, if we can we move on to the mission statement?
Robin, do you have any comment?
I think we're spending too much time on I think we should move on.
Yep.
Generally, I agree with what Pamela was saying.
Okay. So on the mission statement, I always get these things, vision and mission. Kind of use them interchangeably. You can see what the current mission statement says. And Public Works has proposed a statement that says our mission is to deliver innovative, socially and economically inclusive housing where families of all income can live, work, and thrive together. We strengthen low and moderate income families by offering opportunities for personal and economic growth through partnerships and our supportive services. And Commissioner Kelleher proposed HOC exists to provide low and moderate income persons the opportunity to live in quality, safe, and affordable housing in Montgomery County. And interesting enough, that sounds very much like what we talked about in our vision statement. So
why do we need two of these?
Yeah, can we scroll down a little?
Why do we need a vision statement and a mission statement?
Well, I think the difference, Robin, is like a mission is what we do, sort of, and that does capture some of our limitations, whereas the vision is that end state. Fairly typical to have both.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. You usually see both. I like the one with that Public Works proposed. Strengthen our families. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's just more concise what Commissioner Kelleher said, but I think the mission, the one that Public Works proposed, goes a little more in depth with, the opportunities, because we definitely do that, and hopefully we continue to do that through partnerships in our services, because it's beyond housing. We are, like I said, doing many things to hopefully elevate them from where they are. So I like it as it's written.
I do like most of Public Works there. I think one thing, and maybe Fran may have been trying to capture some of this, that I would just ask a question about, where we say where families of all incomes. And, I was trying to think about this in terms of our mission, because, I think, Fran rightly focuses on low and moderate income. That said, we do build and support mixed income housing. So I wasn't sure, where I came down on this, but I did want to just raise that as a point.
Could I comment on that, Jeff?
Sure.
Our mission and our authorizing legislation is very clearly spelled out as the low and moderate income. We do build multi-income housing as a method of affording to provide the low and moderate income because of the way we cross-subsidize within our buildings that way. It's not part of our mission. It's a financing technique that we use.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think the statement really, in a way it's written now, proposed by Public Works, it says that it speaks to that we build in communities where we're including all types of housing, which includes our mixed income, which is our model which we are using now. And it also goes on and puts a specific emphasis on our commitment to low and moderate income.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it's connected now. So if can we get some consensus that you are basically supportive of the Public Works statement as proposed?
Yeah, I
No.
am, unless at the end we want to just say in Montgomery County, but I think pretty, it's pretty good to me. Because like I said, it's
It is
doing what
not
we
our
do
mission
now.
to be innovative. It is not our mission to be socially and economically inclusive. None of those are part of our mission from our authorizing legislation. They might be things we do as the way we deliver our mission of providing low and moderate income persons, but I cannot accept that much broader mission at all. It's just not real.
But if you look at our current mission statement, the current mission statement, which we have operated under for the last 5 years,
Is this from the strategic plan that the board never approved? So in fact, it was not our policy?
I'm not aware of that. The board never
Yeah,
adopted
me
the strategic
either.
plan. Okay. It is what we have in fact publicized, and it's our mission that we carry forth, and it goes to in a more expansive way than what the more truncated statement that's proposed says, but it basically covers some of the same conceptual ideas of what we do as our mission. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Though I would note, the current one does focus on low and moderate. I mean, I guess I, you know, I, I think I would prefer that first sentence focus more on the low and moderate income rather than all incomes. I think socially and economically inclusive is right. I have no problem with innovative, but I'm hearing Fran, I think innovative is a strategy more than necessarily a mission, but so I don't have a problem with it, but I also, if Fran is objecting to that, I don't feel super strongly about it, but the rest of it I think is appropriate.
So maybe we just started with we strengthen our mission is to strengthen low and moderate income families by offering opportunities for personal and economic growth through partnerships, supportive services, and deliver, what was it?
socially and economically inclusive housing.
It is
Yes.
not our mission
So,
to offer personal growth. It is not our mission to offer economic growth. It is our mission to provide low and moderate income housing.
I like what Fran proposed, but I would add some supportive services. Our goal,
yeah,
it isn't just building things, it's building things and facilitating opportunities, but also providing services, because I
right.
think all of us agree that building the housing and walking away, I'm exaggerating to make a point, without the services means you probably won't succeed. But I like Fran's sentence, but I would just add services in there as one of our missions, because I suspect we all agree that the services are a critical part of what we do.
Right. And we have a huge department that's what they do. So I don't want to take that out because that is part of our mission. So
I
either
mean,
we take, can you scroll down a little, please? So we either can say, I think instead of saying HOC exist, just say, our mission. I do like starting it with that, is to provide low and moderate income persons maybe just the housing. So we're taking out all this about the opportunity to live and safe, but something about the housing, and then keep that about strengthening the families through the service. I don't see a problem with that second sentence.
Okay. I think is that Eric, that's enough guidance for you to be able to figure out how you can can you hear the comments and discussion. So I think you know where this is going. So if you shape this in terms of the draft, I think you've got enough guidance right now to be able to do that. And we'll continue. Okay.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Okay. With that, let's see if we can move on to the next item on the outline, which is about the core values. In the initial piece that was sent to commissioners, none of you all had any reaction whatsoever to the statement of the core values that are outlined in the documents. No one disagreed with specifically any one of those. There may be some rewording of something I may have commented on, but in terms of the actual outlining of the 7 points that were outlined here, there was no comments made back on that. Is there agreement that these in fact represent the core values? And again, these things were created as a result of all of the input that we received from the interviews we did, the scans we did with our customers, with outside stakeholders, with staff, with commissioners. And so the framing of these came from all of those sources of inputs that came into the work that we did around the early work we've done around the strategic plan. So since there were no reactions to this in a way from commissioners, do you have anything you want to weigh in on this now as articulated, Fran?
Yeah, I'm not sure we need these. We didn't have them before. I don't know that they're essential. I actually had a lot of concerns about them. I didn't comment on them because I, quite frankly, don't think we need them. I see them in many ways going well beyond our scope. The in some cases, I made comments that applied to the whole document that also apply in here. For example, calling out particular communities when we need to serve all equally. I think we have to, I think there's a need for much more realism in terms of financial viability. I just thought this was somebody's vision, and we have a vision statement that's far more concise. I really don't see a place for this as being necessary for our strategic plan at all.
If I may, good afternoon, everyone. Chelsea Andrews, Executive Director. These core values are being proposed, quite frankly, as a result of our staff needing to know what and how we operate as an organization, what we value, what we should be focusing on, how we should operate and how we should treat each other as well as those that we're serving. And so once we are in alignment on core values, these will be embedded in how we orient new employees, how we talk about the work we do and how we interface with each other. And so I'd strongly encourage us to think about keeping this true and center. This is where it really plays a key role in terms of centering our employees around our mission, our work, and how we operate and what we value in terms of how we show up every day.
And I would agree with all of that. I mean, I think a set of core values for an organization is very important. You know, I have no problem with it being in the strategic plan. I don't necessarily think it needs to be in a strategic plan, but I have no problem with it being here. But I do support the idea of a set of core values, and I did not have any issues or concerns with the ones that were proposed.
Same for me. I echo what Jeff said.
If the staff thinks it's important, we should put it in. It's sort of embedded within the document anyway. But if you want it front and center, Chelsea, because it's important to managing the organization, what people think, then we should proceed.
Okay. Thank you, and I agree with that overall discussion. If we could, then we will move to the next item, area 4, which is the framing of what, of all things we've heard now and talked about where we go, what are the actual pillars of the goals that we want to harness all this under? And there are 3 that are proposed: expand affordable housing in Montgomery County, enhance the lives we touch, and excel as a world-class organization. So it talks about affordable housing. It talks about the fact who we serve, and it talks about as an organization that we want to be a world-class organization as a mechanism to deliver on these commitments for affordable housing and to deal with the thrust of the people we work with. So that is what the 3 goals that are proposed. Again, I did not hear any feedback from in our earlier responses that any of the commissioners necessarily had a specific problem with the 3 stated goals. You may have some discussions underneath those of the bullet points that are there, but in terms of the 3 overarching goals that are outlined here, does anyone have any concern about these being the 3 stated goals?
Once again, I think enhancing the lives we touch is out of our scope. It's beyond what we are chartered to do, beyond what our mission calls on us to do, and in most cases beyond what we're funded to do.
Fran, you made that comment a couple of times, and I don't want to get into discussion, but I worked at the Department of Housing and Urban Development for 17 years. If you go back to read the entitlement legislation for HUD, the work it does now doesn't necessarily linearly fall within laws and affordable housing. Most of the money that we get that supports community activities and events comes from HUD, with the exception of the county that provides a significant amount of dollars to us for our resident services. So the whole range of services that come out of HUD are not just simply geared toward the production of affordable housing or in terms of provision of subsidies. So, and if you look around the country at every other authority in this country, I don't think you can find one that's simply just looking at, we're going to put bricks and mortar on the street and we don't care about the people. I mean, I just don't understand that framing that says that you frame that from the standpoint of our entitlement legislation. I don't think there's anything that says you cannot do this, okay, or you shouldn't be doing this. And the agency has, for its existence since I've been familiar with the organization, has always done these things, has always been geared toward the construction of housing and the provision of quality care and services to the people who live there. And that's reflected in what we've been doing for the last 40, 50 years now. It'll be 50 years next year.
Well, maybe if we just take number 2 and focus a little bit more, enhance the lives of people we touch through the provision of social services, or words to that effect. So, the first one is very clear. We're expanding housing opportunities. And the second one is you're going to succeed in housing if you provide these services, versus something, maybe what Fran is saying, it's too amorphous, enhance the lives we touch. If we added something like through the provision of services. What do you think, Fran?
Can we scroll down a little, please, where you start to expand on the goals?
Okay.
So I see goal 1. We have what we're doing to hopefully achieve those goals. So can you go down to where you talk about enhance the lives?
Yeah, we'll come back to number 1. So we'll jump over to 2 because where you're carrying a conversation right now. But
yeah, because I certainly agree with you, Roy. I don't understand what's causing the pause on enhancing people's lives when, again, every meeting we're getting updates on resident services. If their job is not to enhance people's lives, then I'm not sure why they exist. for the kids, the people that live there, not just HOC. I'm also part of an organization, which is how I heard about HOC, that we put on programs for the kids to enhance their lives in partnership with HOC. So I don't understand why our mission, our goals would not be to enhance the lives of people that live there or in our properties. So I'm really baffled by anything less than what removing anything close to that. So I'm confused by that. Okay, so we're saying enhance the lives by these things:
Yeah, that's what it's
waitlist
saying.
management, customer home ownership, resident services. So we're kind of saying, I think, Robin, what you were getting to, that this is what we're doing. Um, I probably would, to Robin's point, maybe add a goal about maybe through partnerships, both private and government, social services or something we can add in there to enhance people's lives. But I'm sure that may come under resident services, where we have enhanced resident services.
Yeah, because see, part of it is in item number C, which probably needs to be expanded. Increase resident abilities to pay through programs that reduce costs such as utilities and transportation,
Mm-hmm.
and programs and partnerships aimed at helping customers increase their income. Now, this is speaking just to one element about income and ability
Right,
to pay,
right.
but the whole idea number two of the second goal, if we put more language in there that speaks to enhance, of creating, working through partnerships and blah, 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 to provide a range of services that will enhance the lives of those we touch, that's a much clearer statement.
And I would say if we put that up into the title of the section, partner with other governmental and community organizations, et cetera, then I think we're talking about something that we can say is actual for HOC, but not that HOC itself is responsible for all of that. I certainly
Yep.
think we should have something about partnering with other governmental organizations and private entities as well.
If I may, I want to just also add that our staff actually provide resources and services, and we partner. We do a combination. We have certified case management workers. Our permanent
Mm-hmm.
supportive program is staffed by employees who are certified to provide wraparound services. We have our fatherhood initiative, which is funded by Health and Human Services, the federal agency that gives us that grant. We have over 53, 54 employees that the county supports in terms of our resident services.
Mm-hmm.
We administer the financial literacy program and have coaches in-house, in addition to all of the partnerships that we have. And so it really is truly a combination of all of those resources and our internal talent that we deploy to support all, not just our residents, but as you all know, at one point the commission was bold enough to expand our reach to the waiting list. And we've been successful in touching the
Mm-hmm.
lives of those people who aren't even in our programs right now, but as a result of the work that we've been able to do with them, have become successful and no longer needing to be on our list or positioning themselves in a better way. And so it truly has been one of the hallmarks of the agency. We incorporate resident services in our pro formas for our properties as well, so that we can ensure that we're providing
Mm-hmm.
resources to our clients and customer base. So I just want to give that additional context for the conversation.
Right. Yeah, I like the goal. I think we should keep the goal about enhancing the lives that we touch. What I'm saying is part of these objectives that we kind of expand them to just say, add about partnerships. And like C is really almost too definitive for me, but somewhere with enhanced resident services, we can add it there through internal resources, through internal and or external resources through partnerships and other governmental entities, maybe something like that.
Yeah, what I would direct on this one is that I think that enhance the lives we touch it is a little kind of
Amorphous.
yeah. Okay, and we need to speak to that and say, for example, if it said provide resident-focused services and partner with other government agencies and partners, okay, that would be one way that so we're going to do that. So so I
I
would
could agree with that, Roy.
okay.
So we
So
could say the provision of services through partnerships and something a little bit more specific, something like that.
yeah,
So you want to remove the enhance the lives we touch or make that more, I'm sorry, Roy, I missed your point there.
I mean, what I would to me, if we do these services, what it will do is the outcome of that, it will enhance the lives of people we touch. Okay. And
Right.
so I'm just saying the real thrust of that is providing resident-based focused services and partner with other government agencies and partnerships to enhance. Then you could say enhance the lives of people we touch. That's fine, but I don't want to start out with that.
I like the concept of resident focused because then
Enhance
that
the
puts it
lives.
within the scope of what we're
Enhance
supposed.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can you scroll back up? So the goal changes from enhance the lives we touch. Is that what we said?
Yeah. So essentially, to provide resident-focused services. You say by partnering and partner with other government agencies and partners to enhance the lives of people we touch.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good.
Okay. All right. So thank you. So we can go back to number one. We've done two. We're making progress here. Under goal number one, we're simply able to show expanding affordable housing in Montgomery County. And so under that, there were a list of eight, I think it's eight, yeah, eight other key objectives under that. But in order to do that, we've got to maintain HOC's financial capacity. What I would do on this one right here, I wouldn't start out under this particular goal with talking about financial capacity. I mean, it's an important thing, but I would start out with certainly probably D, expand affordable housing through creative financing and proactive maintenance, renovation, and preservation. Make it around affordable housing, which one of the things is maintaining HOC's financial capacity. I wouldn't start with that number one. That's an important element, but I wouldn't start with that one. The others are, I have no problem with, and maybe just the ordering of these, Eric, but I don't have any problem with the content, it's just the ordering of them to me.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought the first few were kind of redundant. I mean, it was just talking about different parts of the budget, sort of financial capacity, development, purchase and investment, expand capital and financing. Somehow that seems like more detail, and that could all be wrapped into one financial thing.
I agree with Fran. I was thinking you could say something like expand the financial resources available for affordable housing and services while maintaining HOC's financial integrity or something like that. And you could probably get rid of 3 or 4 of those with some sort of sentence like that. Probably somebody could come up with better words than I did.
I like that a lot, Robin, because clearly the number one thing that has to happen is for governmental programs to increase their funding if we're ever going to be really effective in terms of things. And so that would include that as well, because
we're not going to achieve a lot if we don't have more resources from whatever sources. But I wouldn't live in it as a government, but more resources. Otherwise, we're not going to accomplish.
Right.
Yeah, because I think number 3, C, is certainly in line with you all talking about. We've got to be able to expand capital and financing for affordable housing in order to do any of this. Okay, so that's the first 2 I totally would agree with. okay? We could drop those out of this particular one, but I think the rest of them could be included, especially because we've got to say, you said expand our resource base in order to be able to do that. And so if we can, Eric, you have a comment?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, excuse me, building off of Commissioner Solomon's comment, that I think he would, excuse me, I'm sorry. He probably would then want to include F essentially as a subset of C, which is becoming part of a larger thing now. But the idea of the need to pursue funding from other sources probably rolls up into what you were all just discussing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So with that changes and modifications, we can say the rest of this seems to work well, and then we could accept this as it is outlined.
Yeah, I just had a couple comments, and I just wasn't sure. Maybe we've already talked about rolling up B into something else, but I guess I was just a little confused by, setting in a strategic plan saying that we're going to establish defined priorities when I kind of consider part of the purpose of a strategic plan is to set priorities. And then my only other comment on some of these was, I mean, it appears to have taken some of the original language and rolled a bunch of stuff into it, sort of more the actions into the objectives, F and G, and even D, the through or the by, or, so all of those seem to be sub to the overall. But my main comment was really about where and when is the appropriate place to establish priorities.
I think that will come in the operational plan. Okay.
You consider that part of an operations issue, Roy,
Yeah,
rather than a strategic one?
In terms of priorities, I mean, I think the priorities are being set up by the 3 goals. These are our priorities. So these are our priority goals. And then underneath those, what we're saying, these are some objectives to carry out those goals. And then the operational plan will tell you how you're going to do that.
Well, but if we're talking about what are our priorities for development, purchase, and investment, where is it that we want to focus our limited resources? Are you suggesting that's more of an operational issue?
No, it's not. That's a strategic option. That's a strategic piece. Okay.
Yeah, which is what I'm saying. But this seems to be putting it off. Like, we're not saying what our priorities are as part of this strategic plan. We're saying we're going to decide on priorities.
Okay, so we could use the word prioritize something or whatever as a way to give emphasis to that.
But I think the issue is we haven't set those priorities as part of this plan.
Okay. Because, like, for example, in G, which is addressing the changing demographics of Montgomery County by creating more units for larger households and creating more units for the aging population and those with mobility challenges, which certainly came out of the whole ecosystem analysis we did. And so where that's the stated goal. The priority, but in the operational plan, we may say, well, where do we do that? Okay. And I may be missing your point a little bit, Jeff. So if I
for example, if we're thinking about priorities for development, purchase, and investment, some of those, what are some of the different factors that we would want to consider? Like, are there places within the county that we want to prioritize? Are there, unit sizes that we want to prioritize? Are there income levels that we want to prioritize? In terms of, again, how we are, making investment decisions, how we are, deciding to use our limited resources, So to me, those are some of the questions, that you would want to answer when defining priorities.
Okay, because one of the things you might want to, under that one, I don't know if it captures, but under G, for example, address the changing demographics of Montgomery County by creating more units for larger households and creating more units for the aging population and those with mobility changes as considerations for future affordable housing development.
I mean, I don't have any problem with that. I think, what I'm saying though is like, there's always trade-offs, right?
Yep.
In what we're doing. You can have more units at higher income levels, or you can have fewer at, with more, with deeper subsidy.
I tell you what, yeah, I hear your point. If I can suggest, Jeff, that maybe if you can offer something you think makes that statement more effectively than it's presented here, if you could offer that up and we can provide that to Eric and he can include that in terms of the first draft of strategic plan, okay?
Okay.
All right.
If I may, I understand, I'm listening, of course, trying to think through how this has evolved. You all might recall at one point there was a suggestion of creating a kind of a matrix or coming up with some kind of tool that would help inform the decisions. And then we got feedback that might be a little too prescriptive. But I think the conversation around where and what the priorities should be for development is still one that's ripe for discussion. And I either hearing some proposed recommendations here or even at the second meeting where we can have some deeper discussion around it might be a good use of time if the commission is so inclined. But I do agree that for example, Commissioner Merkowitz, I know you've highlighted, let's focus on the 0 to 30, right? And then you might have another commissioner who feels like we need to ensure that we're focused on the senior population, or quite frankly, it very well might be too difficult to be that prescriptive, and the board chooses to look at the wait list every year and make its decisions on a rolling basis based on what opportunities are presenting itself to us at that time. But either way, I think having some opportunity to discuss it amongst commissioners and kind of hear where you all land on that would be helpful.
I would totally support that, Chelsea.
We can include that in here as one of the points, okay?
Because I mean, I can propose my priorities, but I would understand that they may not be the whole commission's. And I do remember, Chelsea, the matrix proposal, which I thought was an interesting idea. I think I may have had some questions about how it would be implemented, but I appreciated that effort to get to some of those trade-offs, or to how we would consider those.
Okay, what we could say in here, establish a development decision matrix for future affordable housing development.
Well, I would like to have the conversation that Chelsea is proposing, sort of the larger discussion amongst, I think, with staff, it would be helpful to hear, some of what how staff is thinking about some of this, but, mainly amongst the commissioners, to hear how we are thinking about our priorities.
And I totally agree with that. What I'm trying to do now is just simply get us with a statement in this document under this particular goal that will, the meetings that have that conversation does not necessarily differ from one just trying to get some language in here right now under this goal, okay?
Well, no, but I hear you on that, Roy, but I guess what I'm saying is, like, I'm not crazy about language in the strategic plan that says we're going to do something, uh, separate from the strategic plan rather than, doing it and then incorporating it into the strategic plan. If
Okay.
that makes sense.
So Jeff, are you saying that we need to have the conversation that we were just saying we want to have before we know what to put in that sentence?
Yeah, I think that would be helpful. Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Okay, well, we'll just have that as a placeholder right now to deal with that part of it, but the rest of it we can go ahead and proceed with, okay?
What, hi, everybody. It was one number E that I was looking at, and it said, make rental assistance go further and serve more people. Now, I like the part serve more people, but you have make rental assistance go further. Now, you're saying you want to make it go further, and I understand that, but I would like it more or less is if it's assisted, they will assist in rental so it can go further. I just don't like the word make.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
had
I'm
a,
looking at.
yeah, I was thinking about that too.
You know, I mean,
Okay, you can say,
Is it more like we're trying to manage,
right,
maybe something
micromanage
like,
that.
more fiscally responsible regarding rental assistance or manage it? But yeah, the word make it is a little
you could say,
misleading there.
What
you
one
can-
could accidentally confuse that word make with, gee, we're
Yeah,
going to cut subsidy to serve more people. I know, of course, that's not what's intended, but we could read it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I would maybe E and G is develop rental assistance to continue to serve or expand service to underserved populations, and that might cover E and G, as Jeff was saying, or others. G kind of puts us in a lane to serve these groups, and the groups we want to focus on. I think Jeff said, could easily change over time, and how we serve these people through services and stuff. Not that I'm against serving the aging population and so on, but
yeah, I think this specific objective came out of the really the summation statement of the examination of the demographic information that was provided for us in the ecosystem scan that was given to us. It looked at this and it showed you patterns of changing in terms of what was happening around the county, in terms of moving of people by age, by income, by racial issues, by other factors, aging. And so what does that mean in terms of future locations of developments that we want to do if we want to serve those specialized groups? So I think so. This is what that objective tries to define. It doesn't say we're going to do it or where we do it. It just simply says that we are going to certainly consider that as we look forward to future locations of affordable housing development.
it kind of does say, Roy, this is what we're going to do. I mean,
Right.
you're right. It does say address, but
Yeah, it's
Well,
the
the original, and this is what I was saying before, is the original just said address the changing demographics of Montgomery County. And then below that were some different, actions or ways that we would do that, which included, addressing aging populations and mobility challenges. So
we could
I'm not sure why some of these, like F and G and D, I think, where some of the sub actions got rolled up into the overall objective. I think
Right.
you could unroll them.
why don't
yeah,
we-
I agree. I think make it a little bit broader. And then when we get into the objectives, you can go into the subgroups of how and what you're going to do.
How about expand rental assistance and services to address changing demographics as
Yeah.
as well as reduce the racial wealth
Yeah,
gap.
that could be combined. Yeah. Yeah.
Up to the three.
Um, Commissioners, if I can just jump in here, and I know we're trying to do a combination of wordsmithing and then trying to figure out how it all works. I want to just give a little bit more context. E and G are totally different in terms of what they're attempting to accomplish.
Yeah.
E is specifically focused on the rental assistance program, and is some of the ways in which one might consider making our rental assistance go further is making sure we keep our high utilization rates, advocating and or exploring additional subsidy opportunities. For example, we did some advocacy work that was successful with the state in allowing the state to ultimately create a state subsidy program. It could be thinking through and or potentially exploring even low subsidy initiatives. And there are many people who would benefit from a shallow subsidy concept, right? And so it's all the different ways that the agency may, and it might not need to be written this way in terms of make it go further, but the general concept around exploring and leveraging both through advocacy and through how we're operating our programs, ensuring that we're touching as, making sure that we're being as prudent as we can with getting a rental assistance out. G is talking about not rental assistance, but a proposed goal that was included for reaction in terms of who we should be building for. What type of units we should build. And it was directly related to the ecosystem analysis that was showing that we're seeing larger intergenerational households because of the changing demographics. Some households where there's the grandparents all the way down to the youngest in one home. And is this something we want to try to accomplish with regards to thinking about how we're building, or thinking about just the aging population and seniors being able, or people being able to age in place no matter what we build. So this G was really similar to the cusp of the larger discussion on what do we want to build when we have a chance to build, or what do we want to purchase when we have a chance to purchase, and how does that tie to the ecosystem and the role we're trying to play in that. And then E was focused on creative subsidy recommendation.
So, see, Chelsea, I understand everything you just explained, which is great. But I think part of it for me with the goals here is just making them broader to encompass what you said. And then when we get to the lower level objectives, you're doing or maybe do some of the things that you proposed. So to me, when we get into like G and we're saying create more units for larger households, okay, in 5 years, we may not have larger households, but I think just putting all of that more defined language in the higher goal is what's a little confusing for me. It's good either way, but I like having a more broader goal, and then we could break it down when we get to the objectives. But I understand that they are different. But E is still for me either it's manage rental assistant more effectively, but to make it go further is just the wording for me. But I get what you're saying there. So again, Roy, I guess we can wordsmith more, or we can and see it changed and then revisit it, or
I think that, yeah, what we can do on this, for example, under the discussion around G, I mean, the point is what we want to do is be able to utilize the demographics of Montgomery County to make future decisions, okay,
right.
related to the location of our affordable housing inventory. That's what we want to do,
Yes, I like what you just said.
okay?
Yeah,
And so it doesn't have to speak to whether it's larger or
correct.
it just speaks to the fact that we're going to use that data as a basis for
Mhm.
decision making for future affordable housing locations.
Yes.
Okay, you all agree with that?
I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Do we want to, in our strategic plan, quantify the extent to which we want to grow rental assistance or uh, grow the housing stock that we own?
I think, I mean, there may be a place for that. I think that, you know, sort of when you're setting success measures, like I think after you've developed the strategic plan, you might develop more quantitative success
Mhm.
measures. But I don't think putting actual numbers into the strategy is necessarily a strategy. That's, you know, again, that I would consider that more of a metric to measure our success at achieving our strategic plan.
Yeah, I would
Um,
agree.
And may I just want to step back for one moment, and you know, because in terms of what we're doing here, it is very hard to wordsmith by committee.
Right.
And so my recommendation would be, you know, and some places, some wordsmithing may be appropriate, but my recommendation would be we focus more on the substance of these. And if we have issues with the substance, rather than and if we want to wordsmith, we can do it more offline and like propose. That would be my recommendation. Others may disagree with that, but just in the interest of time here.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, we've had a minimal amount of wordsmithing, but I understand. I think what we're trying to do is to, and the reason we have Eric on the call is to be able to hear this conversation, so he will know how to frame this going forward in terms of the draft of the document that we will get that we could react to again. Okay, so and and we'll see this again. I mean, this is not like we're going to go from this document to a final plan that's going to come to the commission for approval. We will have other work sessions to go through this and refine it as we go forward. And hopefully we can do that expeditiously as possible. But yes, I agree with
Yeah.
that. Jeffrey. Okay.
Yep. No, thanks, Ray.
If we could then move on, we've done number 2. We now are down to really we're down to the last discussion area for this meeting, which is about goal number 3, which is HOC wants to excel as a world-class organization. And so under that, we have a strengthen internal data systems, ensure that HOC is a world-class place to work so we can attract and retain quality staff. We want to add the word quality staff. Ensure programmatic decisions and undertakings match actual HOC capacity. Ensure that internal HOC policies and practices further diversity, equity, and inclusion. And there, one I would add here is certainly around technology. We need a statement here about our technology capacity and whatnot, because going forward, I mean, that's going to be really important of any world-class organization. You've got to have I mean, today it's going to be not only technology, but it's AI and everything, every other evolving form of technology is going to come before. We've got to be able to include that as a statement of what we're going to do to make sure that we stay in it up with the advancements that are being made in technology. Okay.
Are you making a distinction there, Roy, between data systems? So we have strengthened internal data systems.
Yeah, I am. I'm making that a different one. Okay. So
and see, my point was I was going to ask what this letter A, why can't that be more broad to encompass all of information technology? So we're saying internal data systems, but to me, it should be the broader information technology or technological changes, systems, but just the word internal data systems to me should be broader to include what Roy is talking about, because you're looking at the entire information system in the organization. It includes data, the information we get, how do we use that data to make better decisions. So all of that to me is a part of making sure you have a very robust information system.
I would also like to suggest that number A under 6 probably fits better under this 7 goal. If we're improving waiting list management, that's part of being a world-class organization more than it enhances the lives of those we touch.
Okay.
As a general matter, I don't think we spend enough time in this document addressing the waiting list. So I agree with Fran. The waiting list is, and I get that waiting lists go up and down for reasons that we don't control, but moving as many people off the waiting list into quality housing with good services and whatever should be some sort of goal or something, or a metric.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the issue there in terms of its placement, and I can see your point, Fran. It's sort of, goal 2 is more external, goal 3 is internal. So do you see the wait list as something that is external facing, sort of affecting our customers, versus internal facing, that is about how we operate? That I think that would be in terms of where it goes.
And see, to
I
me,
think Robin's maybe suggesting that there needs to be, maybe it's somehow in both places.
Yeah, I was going to say, to me, it can be both places, but that's part of the information technology systems I'm talking about. You
Mhm.
may, 5 years from now, you may have a way to automate everything that we're doing right now and make it more effective, because you can now incorporate data analytics to go through the wait list and weed out people, whatever you want to do. So that's why I want to keep the broader information technology, where you're just not saying data systems, because it's your entire technological platform, and in any organization, IT is going to be, it may not generate money, but it is one of the strengths of a good organization, because you're utilizing technology to help you get faster, better, more efficient. So we can kind of put it in parentheses, maybe wait list management as an example of what we're talking about, our information systems. That can be one way to do it.
I agree with you, Pamela, that some of it is managing the wait list so that people are on it who should be on it and not, not.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
the wait list goes beyond that. Like if we're going to expand rental assistance in some fashion, that goes to benefiting the wait list, right? If we're going to expand affordable housing, it goes to the wait list. A lot we do, effective services we provide, right, can deal with the wait list or keeping people from getting on the wait list.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait
Yeah,
list
yeah, that's
Will-
what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm agreeing with you, Robin, that it could probably be in both places. Like, you have the general wait list management, and how do we make sure we're managing it from a people perspective, what you just said. And then on the back end, I'm managing it from a technology perspective, because now I'm incorporating more advanced systems, data analytics, to make sure I'm doing what you just said. How do I get people off quickly? Okay, if people are coming on, am I using the data points to manage it? And those require, some more advanced technology behind the scenes to do that for you. So I think we're saying the same thing, that it could be in both places. Yep, yep.
I misunderstand.
No, 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 no.
I totally agree with you.
And I'll just note that looking at the original document that we commented on, optimizing waitlist data to determine housing needs, etc., was an action under the strengthen internal data systems objective. So it was there.
Okay.
Yeah, this outline is here now, as you were referring to, Jeffrey. The original one you reacted to had much more detailed under, and this is just kind of like, it's just truncates those things under these broader headings like this. Okay, so I agree with you on that. I was going to offer one other point for under this particular goal, and one is to produce and use innovative and state-of-the-art solutions for addressing affordable housing and centered services.
Can you say that 5 times fast? Because I missed some of it, some of it,
Say
but
this one time again. More.
Okay,
yeah,
okay, this may be a little too wordy, but the idea is to produce and use innovative and state-of-the-art solutions to address affordable housing and resident-centered services.
okay,
So I would plug that. I totally agree with that.
okay, that's
But
good.
I would stick in there, expand the resources available, innovative ways to expand the resources available in the sentence you just said, or someone can come up with words better than what I did.
Yeah.
So that's before both existing as well as new.
Okay.
Is that capture that? Is that the idea, Robin?
Yeah, say it again, what you were doing.
Number 2, second
you-
time, you're gonna get to 5.
No, you're saying that not only is it should be about looking forward, but you should also look at the fact of our existing.
Well, yeah, I wanted to include, I think nothing, like we said before, nothing is going to, not nothing, a lot of this isn't going to happen unless we have expanded resources. And so what you said, but somehow fit in a few words that say, innovative ways to expand the resources available.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay.
Within your mighty sentence.
Yeah. One of the things I would like to see here too is, in order to excel, is that we are fiscally responsible with our resources. Somehow to add in the fiscal resource if we can, because resources can be people, money, the housing part. So just making sure that we're still fiscally responsible with our funds. However, you can add that in, Eric, if possible. If not, I'm good with these two.
So it's just, effective management of financial resources.
Yeah, or we could say resources, period, and resources, are about people, our clients, our staff,
Okay.
our housing, what we already own, what we may acquire, but just that we are still being responsible for those resources.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, could I comment on that a second?
Go ahead.
Specifically, Commissioner Byrd, since you flagged me on this, I wanted to respond both to your immediate comment, and that actually goes to some of the things we've been discussing in the last 10 minutes. And there are 2 things I wanted to say, excuse me, that I would have been good to say up front, except that I think you all have figured this out more or less. But just to be clear, if you go back to the earlier fuller version of this, which Commissioner Merkowitz referenced a moment ago, what you're seeing here on the screen and in the document that you got for today is a condensed version of that. A lot of the things that you've asked about, a lot of the points that you want more clarification on, are actually discussed in the sub items in the original outline. If you go to that, you'll see some of that addressed and either resolved, or it raises questions for you to resolve, which takes me to the second point that I wanted to make, which is that, and I think we're going to have a further discussion on all of this. We received a lot of comments from you, obviously, and some of you may feel that your comments weren't considered or addressed, and I just want to make clear that that isn't true. They're addressed in one of 2 ways. Either they've been incorporated into this document in small ways, and if you go back to the original outline and compare it to the second version of the outline, there were changes made in response to your comments wherever it was clear that your colleagues agreed with you on that, and I made those changes. There were about a dozen issues where some of you suggested changes that didn't necessarily agree with what others of your colleagues thought either in those direct comments or in discussions we've had previously. And so those were basically left for discussion today. And those have been raised. I think in the course of this discussion, you have managed to touch on everything that I was hoping that we would resolve between, where there were differences of opinion within the commission. So it seems to have worked itself out well. But basically, the two things I wanted to say are, if you want some more detail, go back to the prior version, and that will expand on some of what's here. And if you didn't see your comments addressed in this document, that's because I wanted to leave it for you to give me direction on, which you have now done. So thank you for that.
Well, I think that's been good. Since we know we have a more details in the other document, they're there. We assume that, Eric, that going forward in the next draft, which we're going to see, which is a draft of the outline of the draft of the strategic plan itself, we'll be
Yes.
able to walk through what we've talked about today, and which is enlarged by the other piece we have. So we'll be able to see those changes memorialized in the document you're going to present back to us. Okay, and so that will also provide another
Yes.
chance if somebody feels like we still are not totally course correctly, that we'll be able to still have conversations about it. Okay.
Yes, and I think we've gotten a lot more clarity today, and that'll be really helpful. I can't guarantee we'll have 100% agreement afterwards, but I think we can get fairly close thanks to what you've all provided today.
I think it would have helped if you had started by pointing out where people had agreed and where they hadn't, and talked about those issues instead of having us try to fit an outline without having had that discussion, perhaps. But maybe we can think about that for future meetings.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to first of all thank everybody for their participation today. I think we've been able to cover a lot of ground and do it in a fairly concise way. I've gotten good conversation back and forth between commissioners and input from staff, as from our executive director, our president, ED, which is a term we want to begin to use. You also notice in documents that go forward that it will not refer to us as a board, but as a commission. We are a board of commissioners. So you'll see that in documents going forward. But I want to thank all of you all for your participation in time. And the meeting which we have scheduled for an in-person meeting for November the 1st, we'll have to determine what the content of that meeting should be, or if it needs to be held. Okay. So we'll get back to you on that. But I want to thank all of you all for the time, participation. And Eric, I hope you've gotten enough to allow you to go ahead and proceed to the next level of coming back to us with a first draft of the strategic plan.
Yes, in fact, more than I had hoped for, and I really appreciate the commissioner's input on this.
I thought we were going to be here through breakfast after the way we wordsmithed the very first item in the value.
Likewise.
Restatement. So thank you all for
Actually finishing early. How about that?
See,
Let me do that. I'm sorry, commissioners, before you hop off, I do want to say that we are scheduled to talk about legislative priorities on November 1st. And so we may, if it seems like it's better for that to be convened virtually, definitely can accommodate that shift. I think there was some thinking around if we wanted to bring everyone together, and we had gotten consensus about everyone's availability. So we'll see what works best, but we are looking forward to advancing the legislative priorities that were supported by ARC and presenting them to the larger commission for dialogue and feedback.
Could I just say that I think, that I personally have a preference for in-person meetings where that's feasible. I recognize that that's not always feasible for everybody, but maybe some could join remotely and others in person. I think you have much better discussions of difficult topics that way. This technology is fabulous for many ways, but it's very difficult when people interrupt or cut off or move on or whatever, and there's not the opportunity to go back and finish the conversation. I think that works better in person.
Okay, we'll canvas and maybe see what's the best, provide for both virtual and in person for those who can do it. So yeah, I hear your point, Fran, and we'll try to see that's scheduled as an in-person meeting. So we'll determine whether or not we go ahead and proceed with that as an in-person meeting.
Yeah, if you can make it virtual, please,
Yeah,
as you know, as an option for
Yeah.
those of us who still work, I would appreciate it.
okay.
Yeah, and my only comment on that is like, I don't have a problem with either. Hybrid can be tough for the people who aren't in person. But you know, I can typically I live close by, so it's easy for me to come in if needed.
Yeah. Well, I want well again I want to just reiterate and thank you all for really being able to work in this case do a virtual contact and I think have some good dialogue back and forth and appreciate your patience and your time. So thank you all very much and we'll see you on November 1st.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks,
Bye.
Roy.
The
Thanks,
meeting,
Chelsea.